Prime Minister, his team, and our frontline workers. Support has been provided to the various sectors through the economic relief programs aimed at caring for the most vulnerable among us and providing relief to those who are now unemployed. Short and medium-term strategies have also been implemented aimed at getting the wheels of the economy moving again. Our government has made significant investments in healthcare, transitioning to OKEU, transforming Victoria Hospital, and making significant progress on the St. Jude's Hospital. While steering clear of the daunting cliffs of despair, this government continues to guide Fair Helen to safer shores. The work has only just begun as we continue to build a new St. Lucia, one that is stronger and better. St. Lucia, a resilient nation, stronger, better with the United Workers' Party. Let's keep working together for you, for me, for all of us.
Jeune console qui joue élection ça, il sait sa flambeau. We come in to take all the seats and move. Rejoice it's time to improve. Nous gars mettez jeunes pas mêlés et rouge. WhatsApp c'est flambeau na choose. Gardez mon code qu'avec ses views. La jaune ma kawe un rouge. Nous descendons pas ta moun ko Pringles. Si c'est SLP will lose. La mettez un jaune cause mais c'est flambeau. Si c'est X pas mettez un haut. Nous un jeune console qui joue élection ça, il sait sa flambeau. Un jeune cause mais c'est flambeau.
But, and that is not good. Hello, St. Lucia. Good afternoon to you. Welcome back, Sky FM, the People's Radio. Thank you for staying up with me. I have noticed all my people in the diaspora are still on, so they're waiting for the Honorable Guy Joseph. I still do have Martinique, Antigua, a lot of United States, Canada. I have Jamaica. We have Martinique again. We have Canada, a lot of Canada's, Jamaica, U.S. Virgin Islands. I still have Colombia up there, boy, from morning. Must be a solution all the way up there in Colombia. So good afternoon to you. And Mr. Minister, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Champagne. Good afternoon to all listeners. It's always a pleasure to be here on Sky FM. And I know because they're operating from two centers here and Rodney Bay, so that's the reason why the camera is just for the announcer here. Because usually the guests are expected to be up at the other command center, but the traffic going up north, I chose to be here with you instead, Champagne, of going up north.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. It's always jump back on that road. That is why we have to take that fall in all the way to Shock.
Yes.
We
are on the home stretch now to the elections. I think both parties have launched their manifestos. It is evident that the Labour Party is clueless, that they still have no plan. It's unbelievable, you know, Champagne, that I will come to some of the other issues, but I just want to show the people of St. Lucia a couple of things that really don't make any sense to even listen to the Labour Party. No, it's stuck to you, Champagne. So that's okay.
All right.
I will give you the documents so so you can see what we are talking about. If I were to give you a simple example in the Labour Party manifesto, in the Labour Party manifesto, to me, I don't even see page numbers. So maybe it has page numbers. Maybe what I got is just, well, that's what's on the internet and downloaded. So,
Yeah.
anyway, on the fiscal and economic strategy, here's what they propose. Cognizant of the new challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic, we shall review and update the medium-term economic strategy, MTES, for 2021-2026 in collaboration with the private sector and professional bodies within a long-term vision plan of where we would want to see St. Lucia in 40 years. Now, these are men who are going into 30 years if they are elected into office. Philip J. Pierre and Kenny Anthony. And today you want to talk about where you'd want St. Lucia to be in 40 years from now. So where did you inherit it 30 years ago and where did you take it to now? The MTDS that we are talking about. And Champagne, I want you to focus that on your camera so the people can see the date on it.
Yeah.
2020 to 2023.
Yes.
Where did Philip J. Pierre get? And I don't know if the Labour Party has one. I came into the Ministry of Economic Development. Never saw a medium-term development plan from the Labour Party.
Minister, hold on. We're going to do a little switch because you have some stuff to show. So take this seat and I'll take the seat over there. So when we're going to do the calls, I'll come back.
All right.
So take that seat there.
Okay. Yes. So I do want to highlight the issues that are confronting us. My water, please, Champagne. Now, for the first time, I'm in the seat behind the controls in the studio. So I'll be interviewing Champagne this afternoon.
That's right. That's right.
I want to say to St. Lucians today who are listening and following, wherever you are following us from, when I look at what the Labour Party has offered, it is clear that they don't have a plan. And this is the fiscal and economic strategy. Now, I will highlight a few pointers. So, we were highlighting the medium-term development strategy. This was developed by the United Workers' Party government when we came into office. We found nothing of a plan to work with. I went to Parliament and I made a copy available. I made it a document of the Parliament of St. Lucia. Made copies available to all the parliamentarians. And you would think that somebody aspiring to be the Prime Minister of this country would take a little time and we developed that under the title Nutut Assam. For us to achieve, we must work together. So we engage all of the stakeholders, all what they are talking about. And the medium-term development strategy, the key result areas: agriculture, citizen security, education, healthcare, infrastructure, and tourism. These were the 6 key areas of focus in the medium-term development strategy, which ends in 2023. I don't know which plan that Philip J. Pierre is talking about. And I did bring the other one too, Champagne, because I showed it to the people some time ago that, look here, the UWP has always had a plan. So that was back in 1979.
Yeah. St. Lucia National Plan.
Yes, St. Lucia National Plan, 1977. UWP does not come into office without a plan, without knowing where we want to take this country. And so first of all, you have a manifesto. But outside of the manifesto, so we have the broader vision plan that was developed when we came into government in 2006. And so we had to narrow down the achievements that we would want during this term in government. And so we developed the medium term, because you have short term, medium term, and long term strategic planning. So there are things you can do immediately, and there are things it will take you longer in the medium term, and there are other things that you would go in the long term to accomplish. It is evident. Now, if I read some of the pointers to you, hear this, Champagne. Here one. Review the procurement and financial regulations and create an environment of cost consciousness within ministries and departments to ensure optimal use of resources and a reduction in the incidence of corruption and related wastage. The Labour Party is talking about wastage and corruption. I have the Director of Audit report here, where one consultant that should have been paid $7 million for projects was paid in excess of $21 million. An increase of over 200%. And it's right there, you know. That's done by the Director of Audit. That is not done by any government or politician, political person, you know. That is the office of the Director of Audit. And who was in office? Philip J. Pierre and Kenny Anthony. The same persons today. So you are saying that you are... Now, here's what they did. On the one road project that should be 43 million, they paid over 100 million. A difference of 80 plus millions. On a second road project that should cost 23 million, they paid 50 million. And for consultancy that they should pay $7,402,840.67, they paid $21,570,585.78. So total project cost should be $667,999.60. They paid $204,170,482.80. A difference of $129 million. Now, today, so you think writing something on a piece of paper is going to change anything? When you have never given the people an explanation for what is in this book. Now that is just one. If you go to the Saram Sahoy report, the Commission of Inquiry, you would see more wastage, because it now explains. That is where on the miscellaneous they bought $1 million plus worth of toilet
Could you
paper.
believe that? That is a joke, you know.
on a project you buy $1 million worth of toilet paper. So the road was built with toilet paper. You see, over the years, everything pertaining to toilets has been associated with the
Labour Party. It's true.
I mean,
toilet. It's true. $1 million in toilet paper. Can you believe it? My goodness.
Boy. Anyway, so I want to highlight a couple of the things they said. Hear what they said they are going to do. Now, on this point, it is the United Workers' Party government that went into office, went to the parliament to enact legislation that removes the statutes of limitations on anybody who's involved in corruption in government.
Yeah.
So, the UWP government, including myself, we were brave enough and we know that we are honest enough to be able to go into parliament and remove any statutes of limitation. So if I did something in government after we passed that legislation, let's say in 2018, I did something in government, and in 2030 it is discovered, I can still be taken to task.
That's right.
On it. Does the Labour Party understand that? So what more can you do? Because you were in parliament when the legislation was passed. For that matter, they were afraid, but legislation cannot be implemented retroactively. Because if it could be implemented retroactively, all of them would be taken to task for the decisions that they have made. And Champagne, I've been very, very cautious in government. I heard former PS Alison Jean on the media, on the platform, talking about who should be in jail and who should not be in jail. If Guy should be in jail, she will be in the cell next to me.
That's right. Yes. That's right.
Because she was my PS. And I could not. You see, it is amazing that these persons are making these kinds of remarks at this point in time. Take Stevenson King as an example. You are the Prime Minister. You are the Minister of Finance. I could not make any decision that was not sanctioned through the Ministry of Finance. And tell me how I could spend money from the budget that was not allocated to my ministry. And if it was allocated to my ministry and it was badly used, you had the opportunity to discipline me as a minister. So I want you to highlight, because don't make it look like all the accusations Labour Party started leveling at me was from 2006 to 2011. Stevenson King was the Prime Minister. So you didn't believe that I was corrupt when I was in your government. Why would you believe I'm corrupt in somebody else's government?
Good question.
You understand?
Good question.
Because if you are corrupt, you are corrupt.
That's it.
It doesn't matter where you are, you will be
corrupt.
And
what time? It's true.
But Champagne, I've asked to be a case study in politics in St. Lucia. We know ourselves better than anybody else. And you can see all of the ammunition of the Labour Party is leveled at me. Because, well, the PM, but they want to blame the PM for things. You see, if I do anything in government that will compromise the integrity of this Prime Minister that we have there, I will gladly step out and step down from government or from contesting elections. I've given them several opportunities. Come and show what I have done, and you all don't have anything to do. I know my place. I know what is required of me. I will never compromise my prime minister. And that included Stephenson King when he was prime minister. And Sir John when he was prime minister, because I served for a short period with him. And the same applies to Alan Michael Chasney as prime minister. So, of the persons who want to accuse me today, but you see, they are talking general statements. Who should go to prison and who should not go to prison? So, has Stephenson King given an explanation to why Mondesi was taken to court? Who was prime minister?
Yeah.
Who took Mondesi to court? Under whose watch did it happen? What steps was taken to discipline or to do anything for a minister that you found that there were issues with what had transpired, even though he was entitled to the concession?
Yeah. But it was under his watch.
But they kept silent.
Yeah.
Because you see, the seat of power will compromise people to retain power.
Yes.
I don't need no seat of power. I'm an elected parliamentarian, and they cannot find fault with my representation. They cannot find fault with the work that I have done in my constituency.
Yeah.
They cannot find fault with the work that I have done throughout the country. So you just hearing all kinds of allegations surfacing. I mean, I was told Alison Jean called Newspin. She said to defend herself against what I said, but she had to admit that I was right about the issue pertaining to the minibus sector.
Yeah.
But you know what she said? She said that it was an oversight.
Yeah.
An oversight. You stop collecting the government revenue.
Yeah.
Do you understand what that means, Champagne? An accounting officer in the ministry, the chief accounting officer is the permanent secretary. You are the permanent secretary responsible to collect. It could be 10 cents that is owed to the government.
Yeah.
It ought to be paid. Even if the receipt you are going to write is worth more than the 10 cents. The rule of government is it must be done. Today, after how many years, if I did not point it out, you're going to highlight that it was an oversight where you stopped over $1 million of government revenue from being collected, and you say it's an oversight. You didn't put the paperwork in place.
Yeah, in place, yeah.
And you call it an oversight. So if I have done something, and in the same breath they are talking about, oh, the letter he wrote is worse than what they did. It's not a comparison of what is worse and what. And I've said to everybody, and I know they were saying on Newspin that I said in Parliament, I wrote the letter. I did not say that in Parliament. I said all letters I write is in my ministry in a file. I cannot account for letters that are circulating on social media. Because when I write letters, I don't circulate it on social media unless it is a public letter that must go out.
Yeah.
So, if people want to say that, so I'm just highlighting this to show people. The Labour Party, you have tried for 15 years to find fault with Guy Joseph, and you have not succeeded. You've carried out several investigations, including an over $3 million Lindquist report that revealed more things about the people you have in your corner today than it says. The report doesn't say anything about Guy Joseph, you know.
Yeah, well, I spoke about that this morning.
So, and I will highlight some things in the report.
Great.
I have it there.
Okay.
But here's the most interesting part of the Labour Party manifesto that I read.
What it says on the front page, what they have there? I know they had a green blueprint for growth.
Putting you first.
Put it first, that's it. Put it up for the people overseas.
I'm not advertising this.
Okay.
I'm not advertising.
Okay.
The documents.
Yeah.
Here's what I will say to you.
Yeah.
Here's what they say. Hear this. Establish a sovereign wealth fund to attract external investment funding for the development of state assets and their preservation for the long-term benefit of St. Lucians. Did you hear that, Champagne?
No.
I want to read that
External.
again to St. Lucians
Yeah.
before I comment. Establish a sovereign wealth fund to attract external investment funding for the development of state assets.
Yes.
So you hear who they want to put money to develop state assets.
Yes.
Who?
External, they said.
External. So was it deliberate that they did not use foreign?
Okay.
Now what is the difference between external and foreign? You see, because all they have been doing is attacking the UWP government on FFF. So today they have found themselves in a jam, but they realize they need foreign direct investment. So they call it external.
They call it external. Yeah. External, no foreign affairs anymore. Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Now, when you're not genuine, that is what will happen to you. Now, everything they have in there are things we have done or things we are in the process that we have already started.
Yes. Yeah.
So I was really looking for something creative, some new idea, something. Now maybe, like I said, they said stabilizing and growing the economy. The Labour Party don't grow this economy. Anytime they are in government, the economy is in decline. Now here are some interesting things that they said they would do. Hear this. And I want all St. Lucians to pay attention. Because when men who want to lead a country will lie to the entire population, will stop the progress and development of the city for their own selfish political agenda, but tomorrow they will come and write it in a book to try and fool you. Here's what they say. A St. Lucia Labour Party government together with private sector participation. Hear this? Private sector participation will redevelop the city of Castries into modern, medium, high-rise, multi-level residential buildings that will be, this will be accomplished using a phased approach. So when the Prime Minister said some of the old buildings like the Princery these
and
things need to go, the CDC, the courthouse, the old police headquarters and everything, what did they do? They protested.
They did.
They taking the government to court.
They brought the National
Some
Trust.
of them said that they will lie down in front of the buildings.
That's right. National Trust was brought in. They were the ones paying.
But today, here's what they say. We will redevelop the city of Castries into modern, medium, high-rise. So where you going to put the high-rise buildings in Castries if you don't knock down the existing buildings that are there?
Yes. The same buildings they criticized when the Prime Minister spoke about them.
But these are the lies of the living, and they don't have that. Now, if they want to know, I can show them drawings for these buildings that they are talking about. Because, take the post office as an example. The post office lot is as big as the Bank of St. Lucia lot.
Yes.
And we have a very modern design building to go in that area of a 6-story building based. They were just in the process of doing the studies on the foundation to know how high you can go. And the idea is to put a very modern restaurant on the top floor of that that 6-story building in the city, where you can, because where do you get a proper restaurant?
There's no dinner restaurant in the city.
You understand? So the vision of the Prime Minister. Now, we have almost completed the process of purchasing the lands at Mount Pleasant. We have all the buildings designed there. Modern housing development buildings to relocate the residents on High Street block of the CDC. Because the idea of the United Workers' Party is most of these old buildings are abandoned already. Just a few families are still living. So the idea was knock down that phase of the CDC's. Then when you remove the persons there, you can relocate them to the new buildings that you are putting in at Mount Pleasant, and then put buildings there that will have commercial on the ground, office on the first, and residential on the higher levels, and other forms of businesses. And then you can now remove the people who are on Jeremy Street and relocate them on High Street where their business can continue. Because we have to come up with a plan that would not impact the business in Castries in a negative way. And then you can now clear Jeremy Street and redo the proper buildings that are required in this area.
And it's needed. It's very, very much needed.
The redesign of the market. Look at the phase we have gone to. You have the marketing board, an all abandoned building. Yet still, every time you try to redo these things, what do you get?
The Labour Party.
The Labour Party is opposed to this. Now, I want to give you some other things and solutions. Because they listen to what we are doing, what the Prime Minister has articulated, and the same things they condemn, they came back and they wrote it in their manifesto. Bluffers of class. The Labour Party. But you see, they don't know how to do it. They heard us talking about it, so they've written it. But they don't know how to implement it. Let me give you another one. Consideration will be given to a mix of housing types to maximize the development cost per unit. Single, detached units, townhouses, duplex, quadruplex, low-rise apartment buildings for freehold, and subsidized housing for rent based on tenants' income level. Didn't Mangal and I come right here?
I was thinking about it while you were reading it. While you were reading it, that's what I was thinking about. All the duplex houses.
We have already signed the agreement, and we have 15 of these houses that are in the process. The plans have been done, approved, and everything.
So copycats,
I mean, I said these fellas are jokers.
Copycat city, copycat.
You know, there's nothing in there. And I know, now, I have to be fair with everybody. You cannot give what you don't have.
No.
So they don't have ideas. So they have to take ideas from somewhere and use it. We have spoken about, we have even given the cost of the house
Yep.
in the region of $59,000
That's right.
as
That's
a low-cost house.
Yeah.
Champagne, if you go down to Fromage in my community, my constituency, you would see some plywood houses that the Labour Party built when they relocated the people that cost $90,000, you know.
Plywood houses?
Plywood houses. And the little houses they built in Moshi, 300
Yes,
square feet.
Yeah.
$90,000.
Yeah.
We have spoken about single apartment houses, standalone houses for $59,000.
That's right.
And part of the reason, and it's not plywood houses we are building, you know. We are using cement board, which is protected from termites and the elements, and fire resistant up to a certain point.
Yep.
I mean, what is it these fellas are offering? And St. Lucians will come out
Yeah.
on Monday and vote for these people?
Yeah.
For what?
Copycats.
Now here's what they said. Here again. We will encourage the private sector to invest in augmenting the country's housing stock, especially for low, middle income families. That is what we are doing. We did that in Forest, yeah?
Yeah. Wait in Talvan.
We're doing it in Talvan.
Yeah.
We're doing it at Shock.
Yeah.
It was done by Invest St. Lucia in Bosha.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm saying, at least come up with an idea.
So we have two manifestos, both of them from the UWP then.
Apparently. You know, and here's what they say. We will encourage private sector development. But when we engage private sector developers to do the projects, they complain is because, yeah. But you know who the private sector development partners are? Bopanel.
Bopanel, yeah.
Foreign.
DWE.
The other one, JLDP,
Yeah.
the French company,
Yes, yes.
foreign. They have never supported local contractors. All the money we spoke about there. C.O. Williams tendered for the Southwest Coast Road.
Yeah.
They disqualified them. B&D and Hippolyte Equipment had teamed up together for the Southwest Coast Road and had qualified to get the project, but was denied. You remember that they had taken the government to court on the matter in how that was handled?
Yes.
You remember what happened to the Millennium Highway when they came in, that B&D was working on?
That's right.
Everything the Labour Party has done in this country has been against the local people. But today they are coming to say, we will encourage private sector investment. Hear what they said? A Labour Party government will revisit the Castries Grosile Highway redevelopment project as had been proposed under the previous Labour administration. That project was slated to cost us over $300 million.
That's right.
And look at what we are doing. A whole phase of the road is not even costing the government $15 million.
Can you believe it? Yeah.
With two roundabouts. So think of, if we do another 15 million, that will take us,
At
let's
least
say from,
maybe glass.
no, if you take from Computer World and you go up, and let's say that cost you 20 million.
Yes.
So if you add 15 to the 20, that is 45.
Right.
And if you spend another 20
To join shop.
to join to Marisil Junction,
Okay. Okay.
That is 15 and 20.
35
That
and
is
that's
35 and
55.
20. That is 55.
55, yes.
And then from there to shock, if you spend another 20.
Yes.
So for under
75.
100 million, we can do the same 4-lane road
That's right.
that the Labour Party proposed to do for close to $300 million.
That's right. That deserves the bell. That's right. That's a huge difference, you know.
You understand? Because remember, they built a bridge.
Yes.
$13 million.
That's right. The bridge alone. Yeah.
They didn't create an embankment. They didn't do it. Just built a bridge.
Yeah.
14 million. Now hear that. I don't want to believe that they wrote that. Additionally, we shall continue community road infrastructure.
No. That's no, wait a minute.
Improvement.
That should not have anything to do with roads. That manifesto, listen to me, that manifesto should not say a word about roads. Not a word.
They said people not eating roads, but here's what they say. What did they say? Additionally, we shall continue. What does it mean to continue?
Well, you want to take it from where it was left off. And they endorsing it. If you're going to continue road building or road rehabilitation, you're endorsing what is happening. That's what you're doing.
Champion. The people of St. Lucia will not be fooled.
No.
Today, a Labour Party
is talking about roads.
Writing in the manifesto that they will continue the community road infrastructure. No, I want to see in the manifesto where you will give the people the money that you spoke about.
That's what you have to put.
Where you will get the money and how much money you will give each St. Lucian.
Yeah.
That is what I expect to see in the manifesto. That is what you preach for the last year and a half since COVID.
Yes.
That a Labour Party will give the people money.
That's what they said.
Today you come in and say
they will continue.
You know, that is a joke. And St. Lucian, stay with the government that knows what it is doing. The government of the United Workers' Party. We are very clear on where we are going. We didn't give you any Jamasak manifesto. We didn't give you anything that we did not intend on doing. We are very, very clear. Now, I will come to the UWP manifesto, you know, but I want to show you that everything the Labour Party condemned the government for is what they have in their own manifesto. Because you know what their problem is? They don't want to see somebody else doing what they usually promise but cannot do. Because they've never done what they have promised in their manifestos. And you can read, I have the other one here. I can read
Blueprint for growth.
I can show you all the things they promised, never delivered. Today, you have independent Labour Party candidate. This is what they promised. I want to show you. They talk about healthcare. In 2011, they said in this term, on page 38 of the 2011 manifesto, in this term of office, our party will implement universal healthcare.
Yes, I remember that talk.
That's what the Labour Party said. They've been in government for 15 years. And Emma wants to talk. The very program that was started, all they got was the computers, and the program failed. The healthcare program failed under the Labour Party. Now, I wanted to read what they said. The new economy must be private sector led economy. Yet still when we engage the private sector, they complain. Now, I told you about the friends they were going to associate with, but I also wanted to highlight what they said about a certain person who is independent labor. I want to highlight it for the people of St. Lucia to see. In 2011, they said the last 5 years represents the lowest period in our nation's history for the housing sector, and this has been the worst performance of any housing minister. The same Richard Frederick, who was the Minister of Housing under a Stephenson King-led government, was described by the Labour Party as the worst housing minister in the history of St. Lucia. And today, you are presenting him as a savior. This is what they had promised. In our first 2 years in office, we will mobilize resources to undertake the reconstruction of vital infrastructure. We will see to it that our primary roads, bridges are reconstructed, our damaged and silted agricultural lands restored, our rivers desilted, and our nation's water distribution system repaired. We intend to put large numbers of St. Lucians to work in rebuilding our country. That is what they promised in 2011. Nothing they said they happened.
Nothing.
Everything that has happened with the water infrastructure, UWP. With the roads, UWP. This UWP government, led by Prime Minister Shasney, has repaired more roads in a single term in office than any other government in the history of this country.
How much they spend on this Hilton?
1 million.
For the whole country?
For the whole country. In Castries, Southeast, we were spending $1 million.
These people, my goodness, these people are jokers.
So you see what? So somebody is supposed to take this thing that the Labour Party is presenting seriously. Now you know what they said.
They said anything about tourism?
Oh yeah, they said a lot about tourism.
The same tourism, if you don't have a proper airport facility, you can't get them into your country?
Now you know, I was looking at a section of it that I would,
you know?
They said they'll increase tourism accommodation room capacity by 600 rooms in the first term.
600 rooms?
Yes. You remember they had promised a 5,000 hotel in Safi. I've been talking about Airbnb, talking about incentivizing an increase in Airbnb accommodation. We already passed the legislation for that in the parliament. We already have village tourism. The projects are going on in Soufrière, Grosile,
even
and Anslare. Minister Dominic can give Philip J. Pierre a few lessons in tourism. You know, I mean, I could not believe when I went through this champagne and I saw what the fellas were promising. You know, they promised to privatize more government entities.
Again?
Yes. I was looking for the section. I'll get it because I'll come back here because I've not spent much time. I've just glanced through some of the things that they propose to do, and I'm saying that they are clueless. And you know the best part of it is the Labour Party could not fill a slate. They have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 candidates.
15.
The Labour Party could not fill a slate of 17 candidates. Why?
This morning I spoke about that.
Why you could not find 17 candidates? And you know, at Castries office, they couldn't find somebody to run. I tell them all the noise Mary Polius making for them, they should send her run.
Exactly.
Because you know why she is upset with me? Because she said the seat is hers and I took the seat.
That's it.
Yes.
But she never won it when she ran. She didn't win.
You see, some people believe that the votes of the people belong to them.
That is right.
And that they can go and do what they want with it.
Yes.
Here's what they'll do. Complete the implementation of all e-government services which was started under a Labour Party government. Which e-services they started under a Labour Party government? The renewal of driver's license and all of these transactions, that is being done under a UWP government. Which e-services you started? You talking about you started e-services under a Labour government? Under the Labour government, it was taking you a year to get your driver's license.
Yes.
Now you can get your driver's license right away.
That's right. That is right. And they didn't start that for sure.
You know, they came and they criticized us when the Prime Minister put forward the loan to do the e-government services in the Parliament. I mean, what is it?
What they have on the youth economy? Youth economy, I know they talk about that a lot. Hey, youth economy.
Oh, the youth economy is not. It's there.
Hey.
Let me give you an example. Provide fiscal incentives to young entrepreneurs that are specifically targeted and readily accessible. Now, provide fiscal incentives. Bradley Felix has been doing that. If you open in a barber shop, you can get concessions. You can get incentives. If you open in a little ice cream shop or a pizza shop, a bakery, whatever, no other Minister of Commerce has done more for small businesses in this country than Bradley Felix has done in 5 years.
Monies have been
allocated. And let me tell you why I credit Minister Bradley so much for what he has done. Minister Bradley came from a banking background. One of the most loved bankers in St. Lucia today is Bradley Felix. I've never heard somebody in St. Lucia say one bad word about Bradley Felix as a person, as a banker, in anything. And you know, if you are a loans officer, you in the bank, people usually have bad things to say, especially when I cannot understand how a man is so loved. You know, an investor came to St. Lucia, and when he heard that Bradley was a banker, he said a banker won elections in St. Lucia.
That don't happen. That don't really happen.
I said, well, he didn't just win elections. He's one of the most loved persons in the politics of St. Lucia.
That don't always happen.
And more so as a person. So Minister Bradley has done more. What they're talking about there for the youth. We are way ahead of this. Look at it. We passed legislation. We made it possible that if you go in to buy a blender, that the blender can be used as an asset to be used. So before, any little loan you went for, is land paper, is house paper, is your vehicle paper, things like that they wanted. Now, if a carpenter is buying tools and he's buying a bensaw, the bensaw becomes the security for itself. It has an asset value. That is what the United Workers Party under Bradley Felix as the Minister of Commerce has done. The Prime Minister, through the Ministry of Economic Development, we went and negotiated funding to put at SLDB so that the young people can get loans and grants, part grant and part loan, to start their small businesses. And you remember that even at the ECCB, Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, that we have made provisions that there can be certain guarantees for persons who do not have the collateral to start businesses. I mean, when I look at what these fellas are proposing, jokers. They are taking the country backward rather than forward. So it clearly means that they have not understood the volume of work and measures that this government put in place to help the people. Now, I can say more, I can show you. Provide financing to eligible young people to operationalize their business ideas in the form of grant and low interest loans. That is already available.
National Development Bank, long time. Long time.
Provide marketing support for these budding entrepreneurs to market their product and service locally. We passed that stage. I ran with Rickson.
Yeah.
What's his name?
I don't remember his name. Rick Winston.
Christian. Yeah. That's right. He ran a training program. He brought down some Jamaicans down here. I had a whole group of about 30 young people in the area of developing their marketing strategy and using social media. And these people were trained, young entrepreneurs. The whole idea of village tourism, Airbnb and all of that, the Prime Minister has created a platform for advertising all of these small businesses. Export St. Lucia.
Yes.
I mean,
Export St. Lucia, that's right.
I cannot believe.
That's right.
I cannot
That's
believe.
Right. That's right. Yes, Export St. Lucia.
I mean, when you say the fellas don't have a plan, sometimes you exaggerate.
Yeah, so you want to see it for yourself.
So you know, in the political arena, sometimes there's exaggeration of it. But really and truly, you expect the fellas to come. So much talk about the youth, youth. And that's what you're coming with. No new ideas. Everything that is there already. What we have done is what you are coming to propose. So you will undo it and do it again. Now you know that's how Labour Party
operates. It's member I sent Jews la. That is the St. Jude's philosophy.
Yeah, mash it up
and put it back. Yeah, the St. Jude's philosophy.
Encourage programs to support skills training, mentorship, and development of their emotional intelligence to assist them in becoming successful young entrepreneurs. Encourage programs. Even Dominic Fede has run training programs in his area. I have run training programs. Monroe College ran a training program in the south of the island. The amount of training that we have done as a UWP government in all sectors. What was happening at Ojo Labs? The same funding that was used, instead of sending the children through a training program, they got on-the-job training. And that is why the government subsidized the salaries for the young St. Lucians who now work at both ITEL. We didn't subsidize ITEL BPO, but those we subsidize at Ojo Labs and did not remain at Ojo Labs because they had the requisite training and skill. They were able to be absorbed by ITEL BPO.
Yes.
I mean, I could not believe that these Labour Party fellas are so dull. They are very dull.
Yeah.
I mean, come up with something that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's what you want to try and fool the youth with.
Yeah.
That these are the things that you offering them, what is already available. So what you intend to do is take everything away from them, and then come back and say, okay, we are giving you this.
Yeah.
You know what they do? They make you poor. And then they come and give you handouts,
that's right,
to be able to say, we did something
that's
for
right.
you.
That's right.
This is madness. Now I will show you that these fellas are jokers of class. What I've said about the ensure that the youth economy is an integral part of the wider economy, to ensure that the creation of a young indigenous business class can enhance local wealth creation. What have I been saying all along? You cannot have a youth economy in isolation of the general economy, because the economy functions as one set of machinery. You have different gears in a gearbox, and either you go to first gear, second gear, third gear, fourth, and then sometimes you have a split shift system where you have 5 gears in low, or if you look at these trailer trucks that have 16 gears, you have 18 low and you have 18 high.
Right.
So when you have load, you drive in the low, and it's just a switch, you know, that switches you from high to low. But it is evident that the Labour Party don't understand a lot of things, so they have things, but I mean, I don't want to believe. Contractors in St. Lucia have received more concessions under this government. And you know why this has happened, Champagne? Because I've always been against the fact that every foreign contractor who gets a World Bank job, a CDB job, a government-handed job, a job that they tendered on, they are given everything duty-free. They employ our local people. So imagine the contractor tenders on the job because he's getting it duty-free. So all his equipment comes in duty-free. Even his fuel, the parts, the tires, everything is duty-free. He employs the local person at the duty-free price, but the local person, when he goes and buys his fuel, he has to pay duty. When he buys a tire for his truck, he has to pay duty. So he is working below price. So what we have done as a UWP government is to empower our local contractors by giving them the same incentives that we have given to the foreign contractors, because we want to build up our local contractors. We have young people who are contractors. They have gone into the business, and that's why I'm saying to you, it is evident that they don't have ideas of what to do. Now they said they'll establish a separate ministry for the youth economy.
Wow.
So they'll add another ministry.
Another ministry, yeah. So
you see where the head is at?
Yes.
So the cost of running that ministry will be more than the money that's available to help the youth in their business endeavors. I started business programs in my constituency way back. We have supported barbers, we have supported tailors, we have supported hairdressers. The amount of small, we have built it. The market that is being built in Bexon will incorporate 20 young business persons with a place where all they would have to pay is a minimal rent of about between $100 and $200 a month.
Yes, that is minimal.
To keep their business operational. So these fellas have no idea.
Yeah.
Talking about you will now fix roads.
Can you believe it? Yeah.
So, now I've spent a lot of time talking about this thing just to show St. Lucians that everything that they criticize is agro-food processing sector. The Labour Party can today talk about the agro-processing food sector.
Yeah.
They got one in Angers, one in Fontainebleau. There was a third one, you know. They remain closed under the St. Lucia Labour Party.
Yeah, one in Fontainebleau, one in Daviso.
Angers.
Yeah, that's right.
And it had to take a UWP government to come back into office. So, clearly, they have no ideas of what to do. They talk about livestock. Bon Séjour closed under their watch. You know, so I am telling the people of St. Lucia, I want you to look at both manifestos. You know, even in the building of St. Jude, that all those who were involved in the new development of the panels down there will be certified by the TVET Council.
Yes.
And the Minister of Education, I have to big up Minister Gail Rigobert for what she has done in the education sector. The people have developed a new skill in producing these panels, and they will be certified and have a certificate that if they travel anywhere and they go into that industry of construction to find a job.
Yeah.
And we are talking about over 40 St. Lucians who are trained and transfer of knowledge. So, what we have seen today is a clear indication that the Labour Party wants to take St. Lucia backward. I still want to get the section, Champagne, where they said that they will be involved in more private sector. They will head that. I got it. Point number 7. In collaboration with the private sector, transfer some government fixed assets to the private sector.
Yeah. Transfer government
fixed assets to the private sector. Now, you know what is fixed assets of government? Immovable property,
Yes.
land,
That's right.
buildings. I don't know what else to put in that category. So the Labour Party is already telling you in their manifesto, in collaboration with the private sector, transfer some government fixed assets to the private sector. They didn't say they will sell.
Yeah.
They didn't say they
Transfer.
will do this. They said they will transfer government fixed assets to the private sector. Hear that? With the intention of converting government loan payments into lease rental payments to reduce the government debt obligation.
Wow.
I don't know what that means. I still have to try and digest.
What I get from it is they're going to send these things to their friends, and their friends give them a little something. That's the only way I could come. It's just like the PPP with the airport. Yeah, if you're going to take things from the government, put it in the hands of your friends, because private sector is your friends. They're not going to give it to you or me. The private people they're going to give it to is not you and I.
So it says in collaboration with private sector, some transfer some. So you know, you may be very right, you know something.
The only
So
conclusion
the
you come with
arrangement that we have for the airport, you know what they may do? After we build our airport ourselves,
Yeah.
and we own it, They will take that fixed asset
Yes.
and transfer it to a
In a private sector.
entity.
That's the only conclusion I could come up with. And get a little something at the end of the month. Because they already told you they're going to reduce government debt. What else can you think of it?
But the effort is more than capable of paying for itself.
Your family bizarre.
Even in the COVID environment, champion. With the number of arrivals that we are having in St. Lucia, we can meet much more than our debt obligation on the airport if we were paying the loan already.
That is true. That is true.
So, I want St. Lucians to open their eyes and their ears. When we went to Blue Ocean to operate
The fish
the fish,
operation.
how much criticism did we get?
Yep.
How many things did they have to say? A local person,
Yes.
a local entrepreneur, private sector came in, has purchased more fish, as you heard from the Minister of Agriculture last night, than when the Fish Marketing Corporation was operational.
That is true.
Has been criticized. All kinds of accusations leveled at persons because of that. Yet still you put in your own manifesto that in collaboration with private sector transfer some government fixed assets to the private sector. Now here, that's the intention.
Yes.
That may not be the end result. Why would it not clearly stipulate why you would transfer government state asset? Fixed assets, you know. Not movable assets. We're not talking about vehicles and these things. We're talking about fixed assets. The airport.
The airport,
the seaport. The government buildings. The lands that are owned by the government.
That's right. That is scary, you know. That is scary.
That is fixed assets of the government.
That is scary.
And Philip J. Pierre is proposing in his manifesto. They did not say what's the formula. They say in collaboration. So who is going to make that decision? Which committee will be responsible for making the decision which assets will go to which private sector? You see the danger that we are in, Champagne? So you know what?
I understand it
They
well.
can just form a company. And I can tell
Among
you,
them, and that have been done before.
you remember when they removed, is it Hacks that was operating at the airport?
Something like that, you know. I don't remember the name.
The company owned by Mr. Eldridge
Stevens, yes, the cargo company.
You remember they formed a separate company.
And I could mention the name, the Neptune guy was responsible for it.
That's right.
I remember.
And I've dealt with that in past elections. They formed that company. They got Hacks out, who have been operating there for many years.
That's right.
And they formed a company with their friends.
All of their friends.
And they gave them to operate the cargo facility down there.
Didn't last a year.
You remember they had set up a company named Ansil? Ansil became the company that was managing Laplace Carénage.
That's
and
right.
getting a 10%. Imagine when Slaspa paid the electricity bill. If the electricity bill was $4,000 for the month, Slaspa would pay the electricity of $4,000. Ansil would take the 10% from the 4,000, which is 400, and they would pay the electricity at 3,600, and Slaspa had to go back when the arrest build up to pay. So when you hear they say in collaboration with private sector, St. Lucians,
my goodness,
open your eyes.
The guys literally wrote that in a manifesto.
Open your eyes.
In opposition.
That they are going to transfer some government fixed assets to the private sector with the intention. They didn't say that's the main reason. All they say, that's what we intend.
Yes.
The intention of converting government loan payments into lease rental payments. So you know what? They can just now give the airport
Yes.
to a friend,
Yes. Private company.
former company,
Yeah.
give the airport to that company. The airport will take on paying the company will take on paying the loan.
Yeah.
But all the profits from the airport development tax, who will it go to?
Yeah. Goes to the private company.
Because I'm telling St. Lucians, these fellas, they're not so stupid to want to give a company $1 billion for a project that is costing $500 million. Somebody had to be
Of course, somebody benefited.
somewhere
Of course,
from.
that's what it is.
That is why they were so bent on going in that direction. And I heard Stevenson King has joined the bandwagon
Yes,
to
yes.
say he liked the PPP.
The PPP.
And when he was in government, and I'm coming to that with the chronology of the airport.
Yeah, he loved the PPP. He didn't see anything wrong with it. That's what he
But
said.
when he was prime minister, he
Yeah.
wasn't doing it as a PPP.
Yeah, yeah.
You see, double standards. I've told them one thing about Guy Joseph. I have been consistent in the politics. I'm not perfect, but I've never been corrupt and never been crooked
That's right.
in government. And I challenge any one of them. If Stevenson King thinks that people in the UWP should be in jail, that makes him part of those who should be in jail,
That's right.
because he only left a week ago.
That's right. That's right.
So, si pan soutouillez, pan vole.
And voila.
So, silence is consent. So, if you knew anybody was stealing, and let me make a statement while I am on this. When I knew what was going on at the Marigo Housing Project under Richard Frederick as the Minister of Housing, the number of complaints that I got, and I know that when the contractor got paid, where the money was going to, and that contractor almost lost his entire business on that Marigo project. And St. Lucians need to ask themselves, Richard Frederick cannot keep friends.
It's RFA.
He cannot keep friends.
Chad Frederick alone. That's the man's name. RFA.
Look at everybody who was with him. How many of them are still with him?
Not there. Everybody's gone.
Okay?
Everybody's gone.
Go back to the 2006 elections. JJ, Vrino,
All.
You name
My
them.
partner, Mice, all these people.
Where did?
Gone.
Okay? What happened on the Marigo Housing Project? When I knew, and Stevenson King want to talk about integrity and who should be in jail, I know my place. And I know what my limitations are. Moi sav moi la kon avec devant poule.
Oui.
I cannot do anything and get away with it. And this has helped me to be straight and upright in government. Because I will never give these Labour Party people and even those so-called flambeaus who want to see me go down. God will not allow me to go down that path, to fall into a trap.
That's right.
You know why? Because I pray and I believe in Him.
Yeah.
And even when I don't see the danger, something alerts me. The attacks on me, because don't think that as human beings you are not tempted to do things, to say things, to behave in a certain way. But every time something comes up to tell you, check yourself. So let me give you one scenario. When I started getting the reports of what was happening at Marigo,
Yeah.
and you know Mangal was the deputy chairman
That's right.
of the NHC, And I told Mangan, brother man, resign. Do not let your reputation go down the drain on that project. So he eventually resigned. I called the Prime Minister then, Stevenson King, and I said to him, I believe that ministries should be audited, because we cannot wait at the end of a term in government, and that is when we know what is happening. So I said, get the audit department to audit my ministry first, because I had the largest budget. Prime Minister Alan Chastanet today was at the time Minister of Tourism.
Yeah.
He was getting, remember, for the first 3 years, Sir John had allocated the $50 million to the Ministry of Tourism. Both Alan and I spoke to Steve at the time and said to him, there's so much being said, so many accusations. I volunteered to get my ministry investigated first. Alan volunteered to get his ministry investigated. We had the discussion. We were told that a team would be put together by the Ministry of Finance to audit my ministry. The 5 years passed. Nobody never audited the ministry. I have never been afraid of an audit. I'm never afraid of a commission of inquiry. Because you know what? Everything you hear about Guy Joseph, they cannot come with one shred of evidence of anything, because it's not there. It's just not there. It's not that they cannot find it. I've said to you, if it does not exist, you cannot find it. And I mean, for you to pay a man like Robert Lindquist, a world
class,
yes, forensic auditor,
yes,
and he could not come up with anything on Guy Joseph. And every day I continue to face accusations and allegations and everything. So other persons joined the bandwagon. With
last night, while I was carrying the manifesto at Spider City, Brother Ellis was there with me, and he was listening to a meeting Stevenson King had. And guess who appeared on stage? Prayville. And your name was the highlight. My goodness. Prayville was on. You see, these people just surface every time it gets close to an election. Never contributes anything for the country. Surfaces 1 week before an election. Rufus Busquet is on the case these days.
You know, it's amazing that after all these years and all of these accusations, they can file one case. They say I'm in court in the US. I'm in court in the US. How the US can take me to court? I do have no dealings with the US. How they can take me to court? If I do things in St. Lucia, it's the US that will take me to court.
We have a court system in St. Lucia.
I mean, the only law I have broken in the US is I was driving in New York, and I parked in on a back street, just off Utica, in Brooklyn, and I did not see any parking meters or anything, because usually at the time it was these coin parking meters. But they had changed, they had removed the coin parking meters, and now they put that machine where you have to get the ticket and put it on the dash of the vehicle. So I parked on the back street, and I didn't know that I didn't see anything. I came back, I didn't notice anything. I was in Boston. I drove back up to Boston from New York. About a week later, a week or 2 weeks, something came in the mail. A ticket for parking and they sent it with the envelope
To put that money in there.
to put the money and post it back to them.
That's right.
I was very happy
to
put the money in there and to send it back to them, because that's the only law.
Maybe that's the reason why the US want you. Maybe they want you to give you a change. You probably put too much money in there.
You know.
Yeah, it's really crazy, ridiculous.
And it is sad.
Yeah.
It is sad that.
But let me ask you something, Mr. Miso. Why would, I know Stephen King, he did what he did and the whole world saw him for what he is. But why would he now start to go on the attacks with the level that he's on? It is like someone descended from heaven into hell.
So, Champagne, the grievances have always been there.
Yeah.
Stephen King has always blamed me for him not being leader of the United Nations.
Yeah, I remember you said that. Yeah.
Always. I've never been forgiven. I didn't know I had to ask for forgiveness, so I've never asked for forgiveness.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why I've not been forgiven, because they say, if you ask, you will receive.
Right.
But I know Steve holds grudges.
He does.
He does.
He does.
And he holds them very, very.
And not just now. Huh? He did it from way back before, when Sir John came back. The man has done. He did it with Morella Joseph. We were there.
Champagne. We used to. If people think what is happening there surprises me, it does not surprise me.
I don't think it does.
I tell people, if I cannot work with you, and that's the problem that I am having. Because it is so difficult for me to tell lies, even when the truth is inconvenient, I have to say it. And it puts me in trouble.
Yeah.
Because people, a lot of times, people would rather you tell them lies or give them an excuse than to tell them the truth. So, when we used to be in the war room, I knew all of them who never supported Sir John. And Steve was one of those who supported Von Lewis and never supported Sir John coming back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I was part of the team who were there, and I knew. And what they were trying to do was to get Von to come in, to have enough candidates that would, even if Sir John, and you remember, we were on the verge of the election, and Sir John did not have which seat he was running yet.
Right.
You remember that?
Yet, no.
Okay.
He didn't go back down yet.
And the other person who was chief in that was the late Keith Sentemi. We used to sit in the war room, discuss everything. When they leave there, they go in up the morning and meet with Von and tell Von everything that happened at the meeting.
Down by, what's the lady's name there? Yeah.
So, I have known that. I work with people. If you are my leader and I cannot work with you, I gracefully step out. I don't create any problems. That's how I operate. I don't make myself uncomfortable. If I'm uncomfortable in a place, I remove myself from there. I don't try to follow what people. You saw everybody dancing on the stage last night. I'm not a dancer.
I was looking out for that. When everybody was introduced, everybody danced. I was saying, let me see what my partner is going to give me. And you're not in that kind of. That's not you.
It is not easy being you.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
People always have their expectations. But one thing I've learned in my life, I've been successful being me. And I don't intend to change that for politics or for anything else. I've said to the people, I love the people of my constituency too much. I love the Flambeau people too much for me to betray them. I will never do anything in politics to betray the supporters of the United Workers' Party. When I look at the passion of these people, when I look at the love they have for their party, and some of these people get nothing from us, you know.
No.
They've never gotten a handout. They don't get a job. They don't get anything. When I look at the number of fellas who have wrapped vehicles in my constituency, and I didn't even know, these are not people who have come to me to do this. These people just love the United Workers' Party. And everybody who loves UWP loves St. Lucia.
That is right.
Because UWP is the right party for St. Lucia.
That is right.
So imagine you having to deal with this. And every day you hear accusations. One of the other accusations I wanted to clear out. Again, they were talking about these Taiwanese funded projects. Champagne, how can I come? I could have done it secretly and nobody would know. Nobody would be none the wiser. When we came into government, and Philip J. Pierre knows that, Kenny Anthony knows that, they had Accel Finance and SLDB to pay contractors on their behalf for projects that was being done the night of elections.
Yes, that was done.
We came into government. All of these people worked and could not get paid because the Labour Party, the arrangement with the Taiwanese embassy was that you send a list of projects, they send it to Taipei, it is approved. They give you the sign off on it to say X amount of money is allocated for CDP projects, and then as the projects are implemented, they disburse the funds to the ministry to implement the project. Kenny Anthony was the Minister of Finance. He was Prime Minister, and CDP was under his Ministry of Economic Development. So everything resided with him as the Minister of Finance. He was in breach of the very established procedure to fast-track the process for elections. Now, remember they called a snap election. Election was not due until
next 6 months.
much later in the year. They had 6 months to go. So when they realized the momentum had shifted so much that they were likely to lose all of the seats,
All of it.
they called a snap election and did not have time to put things in order.
Yeah.
We came into government. I inherited a situation where the government is committed to paying a substantial amount of money to SLDB and to Accel financing. Now the Accel financing was the individual contractors who were owing, not the government, because while they made the arrangement, they gave the people the contract. The people went there to get the money, but you know, it's short-term loans these people give. The longer they take to pay, the less profit they make because the interest accumulates.
Short-term. Yes, yes, yes.
So when we came in, we found no documentation for the implementation of the projects. I called the Taiwanese ambassador. I said, Ambassador, here is the situation. This is what we have inherited. $15 million worth of projects to be paid. There's no money. He said, but they have not requested the money.
Oh boy.
I said, but all the projects have been done. He said, well, you know, that's not the procedure that is followed. So I say, so what do we do in the situation? Because people have worked, people need to get paid. The bank paid some people, and the bank is expecting to get back its money. How do you resolve a problem like that? So I came out publicly And I said, this is what it is. So I said, maybe I used the wrong word at the time when I said pretended, but we had to treat the projects as if they had not been done, compile a list of all of the projects that had already been done, submit it to the Taiwanese embassy, and then they would give you the go-ahead to implement the projects. But the projects were done already. And then submit the report of the projects, to the Taiwanese. And that is what was done. So you expect I will go and tell a lie about that? No, I came out and I said, this is what happened. You know what Philip J. Pierre did? Knowing that it's his own people, because it's not Flabos they gave jobs, it's the Labour Party operatives they gave jobs. We did that to pay the people. Nothing illegal was done. The procedure was not the normal procedure. But what the projects done? Yes. Was there value for the money? I would say 90% of the cases there was value for money. So everything was done. The report was submitted to the Taiwanese, and I did not hide anything from the Taiwanese. Today you all want to come and say Guy Joseph did something illegal and he lied to a foreign embassy. Philip J. Pierre, you in the habit of lying. Not Guy Joseph. No local person, foreign person, investor or not, cannot say that Guy Joseph have told them a lie. That is why I came out straight and I said to the ambassador, this is the situation. So you know what happened to us? The first year we came into government, we could not implement Taiwanese funded projects because the Labour Party had used the entire allocation. Because remember, the financial year for the government begins on the 1st of April.
That's right.
When was the election called?
16.
June the 6th. Okay? So they have not put procedures. So that is why when I came in, I found another anomaly in what was happening, and that is to do with the license fees or the route permit fees. And then I met with the National Council and they tell me they have they have exemption from paying the route permit fees. So I said, but I'm looking everywhere for the documentation. I'm not seeing it. I wrote to the cabinet secretary. I said to the cabinet secretary, something has happened there. I cannot find the documentation. So I cannot continue. So Philip Dalso was my PS at the time. So he brought an SI. He brought a documentation for me to take to cabinet to make the decision. I said to him, no. I'm not going to make a retroactive decision a second time. Because if I fix a problem to help him, none of my people got a payment from this. Because we were in opposition. Remember, they didn't do these same funds that was allocated to the constituencies. My constituency did not benefit. Yet still we paid everybody as much as we could have. I said, you want me to sign a document retroactively, but I wasn't minister when that was implemented. How could I sign the document?
Yeah, exactly.
So I said, y'all will have to reverse time and make Pierre the Minister of Transport retroactively and let him sign the document. These are the fellas who want to run the country, you know. Kenny Anthony, Minister of Finance. But you see, when you have Labour Party operatives like Alison Jean, and I never had problems working with them.
Yeah.
I work with Alison Jean as my PS, and I work with Alison Gajada as my PS in housing. And ask any one of them to come and point out on one instance when Guy Joseph asked them to do anything illegal. When everybody was telling me, say, Jean-Le Bassa on your ministry, you have to get rid of you. I said, no, that is my protection. You know why they are my protection? Because I cannot ask them to do anything.
Yes, that thing out of the way. That's right.
It's not that I would ask them, you know.
I know.
Because it's not in my nature. Everybody I work with in my ministries, first thing I tell them, if I ever ask you to do anything that is not in keeping with the rules and regulations of the service, point it out to me and tell me, Minister, that cannot be done.
Right.
I will appreciate you more for that than for you to facilitate something that should not happen. And that's why I know I have a clean record in government. I don't have nothing to worry about when it comes to these allegations and accusations. Yes, it messes up your reputation. People look at you and they say things, but you cannot prevent that. Your reputation is what people think of you. Your character is who you are.
That's
so
right.
What they say can only affect my reputation. My character remains intact. So in highlighting this, I said to them, I'm not. So you know what I did? And you can go and find the document. I signed a document from the day that I became minister. There is an SI that everybody we continued to give the exemption of the route permit fees under my watch is legal, because we had a cabinet decision and we had an SI that was done.
Yes, yes.
So I did it. Philip J. Pierre, all your years in government, you give people exemption, you didn't even know what paper. No one, did he really forget his documents when he went out to...
That's what I heard. Two of them did it. Him and Kenson. Both of them did that.
So, Kenny Anthony as Minister of Finance, everybody who was involved in this process was in breach of the Finance Act. You cannot forego government revenue without the proper authority. Documents, government. I remember Sir John told me very early, the government is run on paper. No word of mouth. Everything in government. But Alison Jean was so much labor that she came, the Prime Minister just read a speech in Parliament that they are going to grant exemptions. I'll give you an example. When we announced that the police, the frontline, police and nurses would get duty-free concession, that was a pronouncement made in the budget speech by the Prime Minister. You know what it had to be followed up with? You had to make a cabinet decision. After the cabinet decision, an SI had to be prepared and the documentation sent to customs to legitimize the exemption of taxes. That is the process. People who've been in government, and Alison Jean, you work in the public service from the bottom up, and these are, and I can tell you, during my tenure as minister, she was a good PS. I don't take anything away from people. But you know why she was a good PS? Because she had a good minister working with her.
That's right.
But you see, they will want to tell you their side of the story and try to make the other side look bad.
And today that same Alison Jean wants you in jail.
Yes.
Yeah. You believe it?
So, but I am telling you, she did her work. Things were difficult. I know I could not get anything through the ministry easily, but I'm accustomed to working hard. I'm accustomed to doing things. I always had to look over my shoulder and make sure that everything. I'll give you one example of something that she did, and she never defended. You see, all the accusation of the Allen Bousquet Highway, and my sister, who was working with asphalt and mining at the time, getting a job with them because she was unemployed. She got a job with them. You heard they say I have shares in business, because all the past candidates who have been working with Renault, do they have shares in Renault's business?
There's one that's still working there now.
Okay, but if it's anybody pertaining to Guy Joseph that gets a job, so I could not get my sister a job in government, I cannot get her a job in private sector. So she's not supposed
to work nowhere.
She was advised by Alison Jean to sign the contract as a witness, because a witness is not a party to a contract. All they are doing is witnessing the activities to say, yes, I saw that happen, and that is the person that did it. That's all a witness does. When I never knew that my sister signed the contract as a witness, it's when that came out I got to know. And I asked her, why did you sign the contract? Why were you the witness on the contract? She said to me, she raised the concern. She asked. She said, since the minister is my brother, he said, Alison Jean told her, there's nothing wrong with you signing as a witness, because it's not you that's the party to the contract. I took all my blows. Up to today, Philip JP and say, his sister signed contract and thing. The same Alison Jean. But I tell everybody, there's a God.
Always. Always.
What you get away with from man, God is a just God.
Right.
You don't get away with him. Time will tell everything. And I tell everybody who wants Guy to be in jail.
That's right.
Guy has done nothing to be in jail. And he will not end up in jail. But what you ask for people, be careful that it is not you that end up where you want him to be.
Life and death is in the power of the tongue.
Exactly. That's why I am mindful, and because when I know things, I come out and I say I know.
Yep.
All of the accusations that was leveled. So Alison Jean knew, because they were the ones who signed the contract. I was nowhere in the equation when the contract was signed. In fact, one time Alison Jean came to me and said, we only have that amount of money left on the contract, and the fellas want more money. I called Antonio and I said to Antonio, this is the amount of money left. Is either you do the job for that price, or we don't do the job and we finish with it. Because when Alison Jean told me she was not making progress, I said, let me call him. I called him and I said, not at a higher price, at a lower price than where they were. I said, is take it or leave it. That was the... So, I'm not afraid of my track record. When they had to move, you know, we had this issue with the I had that issue with the speaker when I was speaking about the contract, the Banks road contract, when I had to ask the speaker, since when that's your road.
Yes.
You know what happened? The contract was an 11-kilometer contract road. The contractor tendered 9 kilometers. That contractor should have been automatically disqualified. How the contractor ended up with the job, only Alison Jean and the other persons in the ministry. No, it was not Alison Jean. I apologize. It was Alison Gajada who was at the ministry at the time. I don't think Alison Jean was there anymore. Or I don't think she was in that ministry at the time. So I raised the concern in the parliament, and I was going to highlight, and I was highlighting where the defects liability period and the completion of the road was on the same day, and that was wrong. The defects liability period, depending on the type of work, can be 90, 180, can be 60, it can be 30, 60, 90, 180, or it can be up to 365 days of defects liability period.
Yep.
I was on Timothy's program. Alison Jacques called the program, and there was that issue of the FIDIC contract. The FIDIC contract, she said, allowed that, and she lied. She was wrong about the interpretation she gave to the FIDIC contract. I didn't pretend to be no expert, and I'm sure if you go back to the record of the exchange with the two of us on Teams Newsmaker Live that night, you would recall what I said. I will look into it and I will respond, because I don't pretend like I know everything. You know what? I went to people who are much more experienced and knowledgeable about the FIDIC contract. Now, there are two sets of FIDIC contracts, some of a particular year and a revised one. And what they had used was the revised one, but she used the information from the old one to mislead the people. And afterwards, I verified that I was right and she was wrong. But what is said is already said. You can't take it back. So some people will still continue to believe. These are the people who want to cast aspersions on my character. I've never had to go on a program and tell a lie about any one of you, because I've said there is so much truth. I never get to the page where the lies are.
Right.
Because if you give me 365 days to speak hair champagne, there will be enough truth to say that I will still not reach the page where the lies are. So I've not reached that page. And I don't think in my lifetime I will reach that page.
Well, apparently you may not touch on the Lindquist report, so we might have to leave that alone.
No. So let me give you. And I want St. Lucia to see, because I have it in draft form.
Bring it more ahead. The mic is back. Yes. There we go. Turn it that way. Yeah, there we go. Bring it up just a little bit.
So
there we are.
Here, draft interim findings. Taiwanese chronology, road chronology, airport chronology, asphalt and mining St. Lucia Limited, order and Leo chronology. You know who is Leo?
Well, I know Leon Hess.
No. Tony Leo.
Okay.
Stevenson King's friend.
Ah, okay. All right. Tony Leo.
So, when they tackle me and they say who should be in jail and who should not be in jail, they have enough. They have enough in these reports. And I keep on telling them. They talk about they want to find my record in the US. That's why they wrote the look. Let me tell you what this one says. I have the draft reports. And I can tell you all where I got it from. I can tell you all. Because that's the report that went to Slasper. And when it got to Slasper, and they realized that they had nothing on Guy Joseph. That the report could not come up, not even with an allegation about me. It was after that report, Philip JPM met me upstairs the parliament and said to me, "You sucker, we know you did things, but we cannot find it."
Yeah.
I can even tell you the position where he was seated on the round sofas that was upstairs, and I just walked through the door. And I said to him, "Continue searching.
Yeah.
If it is there, you will
You'll
find
find it. Yep.
You understand?" And I can tell them, if I repeat this story 100 times, I'll say it the same way, because I didn't make it up. That's the only truth there
Yeah,
is to
that's
this.
right.
So you talk about my records. Every single email and phone call that I made, okay, both from Digicel
And flow.
and how long the calls lasted.
Yes. Yes. Secret.
So a call at 11:21 a.m.
Champagne.
The call lasted 7 minutes 54 seconds.
Yes.
On the 2nd of June 2009 at 4:49 p.m. A call made for 1 minute and 9 seconds. Every single Joseph calls to Ascenza. Now here's the stupidity of what the Labour Party is telling the people of St. Lucia. If you have my calls to Ascenza, isn't it, and you have the calls that I receive and the calls that I make, why you have to investigate phone record in the US again? What you going to find? But it's the same thing. Is what he received and what he made. So you already have what I receive and what I made. So what else you looking for? So you think we had some, if you think there was some other phone being used, you should know, well, here's the number, and the same way. Because I'm in St. Lucia, you must go through the exchange network for the call to be made. So how was the call made? You can find an exchange network. Every call that I made to Alan Chasney, to Sean Matthews, to every single person, if you all have done all of that investigation, and you still did not come up with anything, what is it you looking for from me? What? So you want me to do something illegal for you to say that I did something illegal? So here's what, let me just read you a quotation. Comments on Guy Joseph's public presentations, April 7th. The source, YouTube. So that is what they paid Linguist all the money to go and do.
Yeah.
Go on YouTube to see what Guy said.
My goodness.
Guy Joseph fights back by Kami Joseph. That was the report.
I remember that name.
Guy Joseph says no relationship exists between himself and the company Asphalt and Mining. Furthermore, details between the company and the government, both on the Alan Bousquet Highway project and the Huranora redevelopment, was not negotiated by him. Joseph says he's being attacked unceremoniously and without justification by the opposition and its leader, Kennedy Anthony. That's what's in the report. Here's another statement they have there. That's what they paid linguists to do, you know. That's why I told you. Remember I said that what they paid $3 million to do, that any secondary school child could have done what linguists did. Here's what they say. Guy Joseph states, it is time that Dr. Kenny Anthony be revealed for what he is, and I am ready to take him on. I will take him on anytime, any place he wants a discussion. We will have a discussion. He wants some open forum. I will have an open forum with him, because you know what? When you are not crooked, there's nothing to hide, and there's nobody in Labour Party that I cannot take on, not a single one of them. Because you know why I pride myself on my integrity, and that is what I stand by. I may not be the brightest, I may not be the most educated, but I believe that I am one of the most honest politicians you can come across. And you know when I said that, what's the date of that? April 25th. 2013, when Labour Party was in government, I was willing to take on Kenny Anthony then. That's what y'all go and pay Robert Lindquist $1 million US. Now, last week, heard that? Kami Joseph comments, last week the Prime Minister defended the relationship between asphalt and mining and his government. And that was Prime Minister. Stevenson King states, I am not particularly interested in which company undertakes projects in St. Lucia. My interest is whether those companies are above board and whether they have the necessary integrity to engage the government of St. Lucia in whatever it needs to do. Kami Joseph comments. Guy Joseph states, SLASPA is the one doing the negotiation. So that's what I am saying. SLASPA is the one doing the negotiations, and I am hoping that soon from now, SLASPA will be able, as a board, to put out a statement, because it is calling into question the integrity of the board of SLASPA. And I know that I have not picked up the phone and called a single person from SLASPA and try to influence anyone in the process of the terminal in Viewfort. Now, they have all my phone records. The same way they got my phone record of Antonio Asenza. Why couldn't they find where I call one board member to influence the board member or to speak to them? Or are they saying that I went and ask any board member at SLASPA whether I spoke to them? But you see, these are the lies of labor. And this is, so Kami Joseph comments, speculation exists. Speculation, there exists a relationship between him and asphalt and mining. Guy Joseph states, it is just amazing that this matter keeps on surfacing, that there seems to be some linkage, or that the company is owned by me, no matter how many times I have said it, people will want to believe what they want to believe. I first knew of the shareholding of the company when the leader of the opposition in Parliament made a pronouncement of the shareholding of the company, and the shareholding of the company does not show my name anywhere. So, if they think they are silent partners, it's because they know about silent partners. So, Now, that is the smaller report. This one.
Yeah. Yeah.
This one is the smaller report.
Right.
The big one
Right.
is this one. You can see the, maybe I need to show
Turn
the
it that way.
thickness. No,
Okay,
I want them to see the thickness.
That's right.
Because I got them in draft form, and you can see the thickness of this one.
Yes.
So, I had dealings with Tony Leon. Let me tell you how I was set up. Let me tell St. Lucia how I was set up. Tony Leon had made some threats about me if I don't know who he is and what he can do and whatever. So, the message was recorded, and I heard the recording myself. So I called the then Prime Minister, Stephenson King, and I told him, you see your friend? I don't want to deal with him. I'm not going to have any conversations with him. They tried calling me, they tried to broker a deal for me to speak to him. I refused. I said, you don't threaten me and then want to come and engage me and have conversation. So I said, Prime Minister, this is under your purview. You are the one dealing with the financing of the airport, not Guy Joseph. So you deal with that matter. Whatever you direct, that is what I will do.
Yeah.
So, for a while I refused to speak to the gentleman. I said, I don't want him to come to my office. I'm not going to have meetings with him. You know what happened? I was booked to attend a meeting in Miami by the office of the Prime Minister. I was traveling in business class. And I don't think it is coincidence that the gentleman who was seated next to me on the first seat in business class was the same Tony Leon.
Oh, that was a setup. That was an arranged sitting.
An arranged sitting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I entered the plane, I saw that, because when I went and sat down and I saw he came and sat down by me, I said, oh, so that is it. So you on a plane for 3.5 hours, almost 4 hours. We eventually spoke. And I told him how I felt and what had transpired. So all the issues pertaining to HIA was removed from me completely. All of the issues of the fundraising, I was not part of it. Tony Leon had formed an alliance with asphalt and mining. You see, I tell people, God always protects me. Not because I'm so good, but He knows my heart, He knows my intention and my motive. Because God doesn't judge us as much on action as He does on our motive. What is in your heart for what you are doing? And how I realized that, after all of these incidents, I realized, boy, it's a good thing you had been removed. So, an alliance was formed between Tony Leon, who's based in Miami, and asphalt and mining. And after a while, the engagement between myself and asphalt and mining almost did not exist. You know why? Because now they were talking to the main man. I'm not the decision maker. So Tony Leon had brokered the deal. Asphalt and mining had worked in Panama. They hired his equipment and stuff to work down in Panama. And then they teamed up to do the airport in St. Lucia. So Tony Leon became part of the equation, and it's in the Linguist report. It's here. So when when that happened, nobody was engaging me anymore about the airport, and I didn't care either. Because as far as I'm concerned, all I was responsible for was implementation of the project. I was not responsible for raising the financing for the project. And as I said to everybody, it's there for them to see what transpired, how it transpired. So when they come and they say that Guy Joseph was the one in the forefront, no. I will read something for you. It's in the report. I'm not the one who generated the report. And the signature on it. Watch that signature. Everybody who knows that signature knows that Stevenson King's signature. Office of the Prime Minister, 10th March 2009, Mr. Antonio Asenza, President, Papaya Holdings, Bonte. I am pleased to inform that your proposal for the release of 39 acres of land for the redevelopment of a tourism resort at Asdesab has been agreed to by the government of St. Lucia. As a consequence, government is prepared to participate in a joint venture subject to future negotiations. Please accept this assurance of my highest consideration in this regard. So it's me that was making arrangements. You see, I tell people, do not come and try and attack Guy Joseph, because y'all will not succeed. The evidence is stacked against y'all. I don't do anything. I don't do anything that I cannot defend. I don't do anything that needs defending. So, here's this one. May 1st, Rufus Busque, as discussed and requested. Thank you, Asenza. That's Antonio Asenza. From Karen, Monaco, and it gives the details where they are. Mr. Antonio Asenza, President, Papaya Holdings Limited, Bonte, proposed partnership for development of 39 acres at Asdesab. Dear Mr. Asenza, the government of St. Lucia has reviewed your proposal and hereby agrees to the following. Papaya Holdings and government will create a new company to be owned jointly by Newco. Jointly, Newco is the name of the company, for the development of the subject property. Government of St. Lucia equity share will be the appraised value of the subject property, who will be now owned by Newco. This value has been determined and is in the range of, now that's the draft letter that was sent, so the amount is not there. Papaya Holdings will design the building and finance the construction of the improvements in substantial conformance with the proposal submitted to the National Development Corporation. Was I in charge of the National Development Corporation?
No, that's right, not you.
The cost estimate to perform the design, build, and finance will be the denominator to establish the equity percentage of the government of St. Lucia and Papaya in Newco. Papaya Holdings will operate all facilities in the subject project upon completion. Both Papaya Holdings and Government of St. Lucia agree to immediately enter into negotiations that will substantially contain the terms herein described. So, it's me that was doing all of these things. And today you all want to talk about who go into jail. But if somebody go into jail, is not Guy. Because the report is clear. Other than my phone records and statements that I made publicly in the media, the report does not have anything about Guy Joseph. Now, I will find the places where the report mentions whose passage was paid, whose hotel was paid, going to the US, and by whom it was paid. And it surely was not Guy Joseph, because every time I traveled, I found a way to pay my passage. And up to a day like today, when my wife travels with me, I pay her passage.
Yeah.
When I go on government trips, I pay her passage. So, you know, Champagne, if you go through this report, now, look at the level of detail the report has. Dear Mr. Buski, I hope you had a successful trip to the UK despite your troubles in London. I've been trying to contact you today via your respective cell phone numbers. As previously mentioned, my clients are now very much looking forward to meeting with you on your return to Florida.
So who's speaking there? Mr. Leon?
I said nothing yet. They have, however, asked if you would be at, or if it would be at all possible to meet with you on Thursday for lunch at a venue of your own choosing. Please let me know if this is possible. If not, then you will surely maintain the Wednesday evening meeting. My client have a 4-hour and 5-hour road trip respectively, and would be very grateful for an early response so that they can better plan their journey, as before my clients can be contacted in Florida. The number is there and whatever. It says, Dear Mr. Buski, thank you for returning my call today and for confirming the arrangements for Wednesday evening. As discussed, my client, Mr. Anthony Torres of Soleil Energy Tech have confirmed that they will travel to meet with you at the venue to be determined in Miami, Coral Gables area. They will time their arrival for between 6 and 7 p.m. Wednesday, 10th August. However, it is no, they have a mistake. Let me read this again. They will time their arrival for between 6 and 7 p.m. Wednesday, 10th August. However, if at all possible, I would be grateful if you would confirm by email or phone the actual venue and specific time before Wednesday evening. So, if a report has that level of detail, you think that if there was something on guide, they have every detailed conversation.
Yeah.
They found nothing on me that they could put in the report.
If there was something, they would talk about it already, a long time ago. I could tell you that.
Now that one is on the Taiwanese chronology, the one that I was reading there concerning former Minister Buski. It has every amount of money that was spent. So I have searched high and low in these entities, and I cannot find anything about me. So, people of St. Lucia, all of the reports are there. Everything is there to show who did what, but people choose because I'm an easy target.
Yeah.
I'm outspoken. You have two reports on Kenny Anthony. The Ramsahoy report, the audited report. And you know in this Ramsahoy report that they gave permission to borrow how many times? You know that they could have borrowed that 12 million 3 or 4 times.
3 or 4 times?
Yes, because the guarantee allowed that.
My goodness.
So, and I just want to highlight a couple things in there. So, you know why the Labour Party is so desperate to come after me? Because I am the only one in the United Workers' Party today who comes after them.
That's right.
And exposes
That's
all of the things that
is the
they have
reason.
done.
That is the reason.
Now, a commission of inquiry concludes the truth was that the obligations which the government of St. Lucia intended to meet were the loan monies with Friendwell Limited had borrowed and the interest which the government was obliged to pay to the Royal Merchant Bank under the deed of guarantee and indemnity and the put option. It was presumed that the members of the legislature knew that the loan monies were used to support Pigeon Island Hotel. We conclude that the nature of the proceedings by virtue of which the resolution was passed was irregular. But since the members of parliament must have known that the government was borrowing money to satisfy obligations it undertook in connection with the resort and payment, although done through an irregular procedure, was not unlawful. Now I want to tell you that Kenny Anthony, a commission of inquiry of some of the most learned judges in the Caribbean, found that you used an irregular process to get that passed. Now I can tell you, because Parliament passed it, meant that it was not unlawful, but it was not right.
Okay, send it to you.
It was not right. It was not unlawful, but that did not make it right.
Yes.
Because the Parliament was misled into an irregular. I would wish to hear Richard Frederick. Somebody should go and play his presentation on this. Today you're singing a different song because you're desperate to be in office. But Guy Joseph is still consistent in what he said back then, and I will remain that way for as long as I am around.
Yes, sir.
Wrong is wrong. Not because you're in bed with Kenny today that what he did yesterday became right. And what you did is right in the eyes of Kenny. It says the procedures which they followed subsequent to the development of the concession agreement of December 17, 1997 led to the loss by the government and people of St. Lucia money paid in respect of the debt of Friendwell Limited. The government received no equity in Pigeon Point Hotel Limited, and under the documents presented to the commission, it was entitled to none. So the money that was paid, we did not have to pay. Friendwell went and take the $12 million US loan, and government paid the loan. The money was paid for Friendwell. A result of the manner in which the transaction was done, the government had no resource in equity against Pigeon Island Hotel because it did not, as a guarantor, pay Pigeon Island Hotel's debt. The government had no agreement with Friendwell Limited whereby the cumulative preference share purchase by Friendwell Limited from the Pigeon Point Hotel could be claimed by the government from Friendwell Limited. The shares so purchased have remained with Friendwell Limited. No shares was passed by Friendwell Limited to the government and people of St. Lucia. Now, that is what they did. And that is why, Champagne, I take you back to the Labour Party manifesto.
Yeah.
And they are already telling you we are going to do this deal again.
Yes.
In collaboration with the private sector, transfer some government fixed assets to the private sector with the intention of converting the government loan payment into lease rental payments. You heard what that, you know what that means?
Yeah. Going back to the same.
So, Friendwell went and established a company.
12 million US.
Took a loan of 12 million US dollars.
Yeah.
And the government of St. Lucia
Yeah,
paid
had to
the
pay for
loan and ended up with nothing.
Yes.
Nou end up sans rien.
Même ba la yo fait mi yo ka dou li la encore.
Ek mi yo hadu yo kay viye fe encore.
That's right. That is right. That
St.
is right.
Lucians, we need to open our eyes and see where these men are leading us. The same Philip J. Pierre and Kenny Anthony was part of that process that happened before. Today, can you imagine being joined by Richard Frederick?
I got double whammy there. Double whammy.
I will not put Stevie in that category because I always like to be fair with people. I'm very disappointed that he has gone to that all-time low, but that's the nature of the man. But on the issues of corruption, I will not level corruption at him. He can choose to level corruption at me.
Yeah.
If he chooses to. But I will tell him, if I was corrupt, he facilitated the corruption.
I agree.
Because I handled a bigger budget under his watch than I handled under Alan Chasney. The budget of the Ministry of Communications and Works was bigger than the budget of the Ministry of Economic Development. And I did it under your watch. And you had confidence to leave me there. Because I was not one of those trying to remove you from being Prime Minister. Okay? So, at the end of the day, if you want to go down that road, there's enough stories to tell. And true stories. I heard you say a true story. Tell them the true story of how the equipment was cleared. The equipment belonging to Tony Leo that was cleared as belonging to the government of St. Lucia. If you want to tell a true story, tell the people of St. Lucia what happened.
All right. Well, listen to me. I heard we had a motorcade in a motorcade and both of them belong to you. Two motorcades in one on Sunday.
We had a big motorcade.
Yeah, it was huge. It was huge.
On Sunday, we're going to have a bigger one.
You're doing the last one on Sunday?
The last one on Sunday. Our people are fully mobilized.
Yes, yes.
We are ready for the election.
Yes, yes.
Something now, I took the old manifesto. I didn't come with the
As opposed to the new one.
Yeah, but I will come back and discuss.
Are we doing the program tomorrow night or no? Your program inside Castries office.
I have to speak at so many meetings, Champagne. I'm
Yes.
not sure, but I will.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do, because
I'll send somebody to represent.
no, because we wanted to show all of the your projects again.
Well, if you can do
all
that
of the
for
government projects. So we're doing Saturday night on Crossfire into Sunday morning, and Sunday night, the eve of the elections, we're going until 4 in the morning. So you have a lot of time to come here.
Okay.
So the weekend.
But we want the people to sleep to wake up early to go and vote.
That is true. That is true.
But St. Lucia, you have choices to make. You have seen what Stephenson King has done. I think that our votes are not for sale. Our votes are not for deal making. People cannot make deal with the rights of individuals to vote. Labour Party made a deal with Richard Frederick and Stephenson King, because why don't they have candidates in this area? The same Richard Frederick is now, so his name is not good enough to be on the slate of candidates for the Labour Party, but you left an avenue open to try and bring him to the Parliament of St. Lucia. I mean, Philip J. Pierre is a disgrace to anybody who's come close to leadership or opposition leadership in this country. You going to, and Alva, you are my friend. For y'all to embrace Richard today, after all that y'all have done and said in the Parliament of St. Lucia, on the platform of the St. Lucia Labour Party, Musa, what do you have to say? You're the chairman of the Labour Party. That is the all-time low that the Labour Party, and y'all said that the people want to elect y'all. The people want to elect y'all, and you need help from two flambeaux, former flambeaux, to win an election.
But not only that.
Now, I'll say one last thing. For those who said I received or I offered them money, I am hearing that $2 million is involved in these maneuverings that is taking place. And I even have the name of the person who is said to have paid the money. I cannot verify the information. So I'm not releasing everything yet. So people were saying I offered money and did. So if I offered money and they didn't have nothing to give up and they didn't take it, and today they're giving up so much to take less. So it's obvious. You see the fabrications that are made by these fellas, it will catch up with them, you know. Richard, there's a God. And your time will come when man may not deal with you, but God will deal with you. And you see all the lies that you all are peddling. And Steve, we know that a vote for you is a vote for Richard. You have never been an independent man. You've always depended on people. You've always depended on other persons to secure your position because you've not earned. You had an opportunity to be Prime Minister, elect, on your own mandate, You threw it away for the sake of Richard Frederick. So whatever he has on you must be very powerful. You threw away the future of St. Lucia under a United Workers' Party and allowed Labour to come in and destroy the good work that we had done in the 5 years of the United Workers' Party. You know why you did that? Just so that Richard Frederick, despite the decision that we made that he should not be on the slate of candidates. But today you all want to attack me, and all the evidence is pointing on y'all. Y'all want to attack me? Come out, show one thing. Don't give innuendos. I don't give that. I tell you, Steve, your name is in the linguist report, and there's more in it than my name, because I read the things that are there about me.
Yeah.
Everything that's in the report about me is what I said publicly. There's nothing hidden that they could find. But your passages that was paid and the hotels you stayed at, whatever other deals that was made, it's there. So y'all want to attack me? I can fight back, but I choose not to. I choose not to do certain things because I don't go to the gutter like y'all do. You want to talk about jail? You want to talk about jail? I can name names, you know. I can name names where Wajma was taken, you know. And I can tell you who was there when the Wajma was taken, you know. So, you Baldas, all of the, that's the level of the people you want to endorse you as a candidate, and you call yourself independent. I mean, at the end of the day, I want St. Lucia to open your eyes. When you try to do right, you pay a price. And I have been paying a price for doing right and saying right. And I didn't give myself the name Guy. My parents gave me that name. But maybe God ordained that name for me a long time before I was born. And you know, it's a constituent that said to me, you are the right guy.
The right guy.
And that's how I got that slogan for this election.
The right guy. The right guy.
But I want to put Steve on alert. You can get everybody to come and say everything they want. I want y'all to come with one shred of evidence. One thing that guy did in government that is illegal. One thing that I did in government that is corrupt or crooked.
And you've been calling them out for years now, huh?
So the Labour Party could not find it. So maybe, Steve, you as Prime Minister, who I served under, maybe you can find something for them. So you've joined them. Don't come and pretend that you know Patriot and you're not any independent candidate. If you are an independent candidate, you would be man enough to let Labour Party send up their candidate and go in a freeway fight.
That's right.
You are no man to go in a freeway fight in Castries.
You need support. You always need support.
So you want the Labour Party votes to prop you up. Richard Frederick, you can never run as an independent and win any seat.
Nowhere.
The first time you ran, Flabo was behind you. This time, Labour is behind you. And you're still going to lose.
That's right.
Because Sarah is by far a better representative of Castries Central than you can ever dream of being, Richard Frederick.
That's right.
Sarah is more loving, more compassionate, and more motherly than you can ever be to the people of Castries Central. So, Labour can make their deals. Philip J. Pierre, you want the Labour Party supporters to sell their votes.
Yes.
That is what you want them to do.
That's what.
So you've not given them a candidate to vote for.
Yeah.
And then that's the kind of deals you all want to make. If you are so powerful, and if you believe that this UWP government has not performed, why can't you come out and win an election on your own? And you think these can save you? They cannot save themselves. Is not the Labour Party they will save.
I can tell you that.
And so I am putting it on the record that Stevenson King threw away the government to allow Richard Frederick to run on the UWP party slate, when we all met and we made the decision that unless this visa matter was clarified, Richard Frederick could not run on a UWP ticket. You overturned that decision, Steve, and you allowed him to run. It cost the UWP, the government. A government we lost by less than 100 votes.
Yes.
So it's not because we didn't perform. Between Rufus,
Yeah.
Ezekiel,
Spider.
and Spider,
Yes. 6-4 and 52.
less than
Yeah, less than 100. 6-2
less than 100
and
votes,
54.
we lost a government
Yep.
because you have been the one facilitating Richard. When we came, you are leader of the UWP. You are leader of the opposition. We seek to address the problem. You refuse. It had to take Alan Chasney becoming leader of the party to deal with Richard Frederick as a member of the United Workers' Party. Your own man who became your attaché, took the UWP to court on behalf of Richard Frederick.
Yep.
So, is it fair to assume? Is it fair to assume?
The second one. Yeah. The first one now.
Is it fair to assume that he was working on your behalf? Because the same Alan Chasney they wanted to take to court.
Yeah.
When he got elected, and you want to talk about being vindictive and disrespectful, the greatest level of disrespect that has been shown to a prime minister was shown by Stevenson King to Alan Michael Chasney. But Alan Chasney, as a humble man and as a leader, took on all of that, not for himself, but for the sake of the supporters of the United Workers' Party and for the sake of St. Lucia. He endured all the disrespect that you showed to him. You want to talk about disrespect today? You would not take calls. Nobody could get you. You engage every Labour Party operative to undermine the work of the government of the United Workers' Party, and you call yourself a patriot?
Yeah.
A disgrace to the word patriot. A patriot is a man, like somebody said, a patriot would not walk with an umbrella.
That is true.
You know, you call yourself a patriot and you disguise yourself in blue when you are really red. And you want to, what you going to do with the people's votes when you get them? Have you told them that?
Yeah.
Have you been fair and honest and truthful with them? Now, you all want to tackle me? I can talk about the Wajma. But I will talk about the Wajma in time.
Yeah.
Because when y'all think that people don't know, you see, I don't go into people's personal lives, but y'all want to attack me on every level. You are Prime Minister, Steve. Come with the evidence of something that Guy Joseph did that was illegal in government.
Yes. That's a challenge.
Don't go and hide behind general statements of what should happen. Cabinet didn't go to jail when Mondesi got his concession under your watch as Prime Minister. Today you feel Cabinet should go to jail.
Yeah.
You see, you must not forget what you did. And that's why I say, be careful. The same measure you use today will be measured for you tomorrow.
That is right.
So, St. Lucia, don't be fooled. Steve is not independent. Castries North. A vote for Steve is a vote for Richard.
Yes.
Because look at the deal, look at the arrangement. You don't think that, and I would love to know who in the Labour Party, not that I don't know, but I think Philip J. Pierre as so-called leader ought to come out and tell the people what deal was made.
That's not going to happen. He'll never do that.
And for this reason, no St. Lucia should vote for the Labour Party.
I agree.
No independent voter should vote for the Labour Party. I know the hacks will vote.
Yeah.
But no right-thinking St.
what
Lucia would vote for a government that has the potential, not my words, the potential of having Richard as part of its ranks. So think of it for a moment, St. Lucia. If you end up with an 8-8 situation and Richard wins his seat as so-called Labour independent, you think he is going to settle to be a minister in a Labour government? He's Prime Minister. He was minister in the government from the time Sir John died. He started his maneuverings to overthrow Steve as Prime Minister. You think Richard will go and serve under Philip J. Pierre? So, St. Lucia, if you want to gamble with the future of this country, the choice is yours. But I am telling you, if there's one thing that is sure, you know what you get with the UWP and Alan Shastney. A stable government. We have formed the best relationships with the best partners in the world.
That's
today.
right.
Canada, UK, and the US. All our allies. All of them. We continue to maintain an excellent relationship with Cuba.
Taiwan.
Taiwan. The other thing we've not heard is the rumors that are going around about allegiance and who you going to form. What is the deal that Labour Party is making? Who's paying the monies that are being paid? You see, St. Lucia, we don't pay candidates to run for UWP. The Labour Party is always in the business of buying candidates.
Yeah.
They always buy candidates. So when they buy a candidate, you think it's you the candidate is interested in. If they were interested in you, they would not have to buy them to come and run an election. They would not have to pay their mortgage, pay this, pay that for them to come and run. So you have to know, we have a solid plan. Look at their plan. There's nothing in it. What we promise is what we are doing, and this is what we are going to continue. There's a lot of good work with the United Workers' Party, and the next time I come here, Champagne, I'm coming to explore the manifesto of the United Workers' Party, just the 545.
Yes.
Let me tell you, if we just do the 545, that is more than enough. That is more than what the Labour Party can do in 10 years. Health care for all, health insurance for everyone, Champagne, unemployment benefits. $75 on electricity bills for the poor and vulnerable, and $30 to pay water every month, $200 on food vouchers, vouchers for mothers, single mothers, for school supplies like uniform, shoes and everything, and no more purchasing of books for school.
That's right. Reduction in VAT 2.5 again.
Reduction in VAT by another 2.5%. Champagne. Just if a government can just give that for a 5-year term.
That's right.
That is outside of all of the projects and the works and the growing of the economy. Champagne, we need to take some calls if we have time.
I don't know, because we have to go down to Shrewsbury.
Okay.
I don't know. It's you. We could do some 5 minutes. Oh, my man E.T. is going to do the calls, because we have to go down south.
Champagne, there's so much information that is available.
Yes.
St. Lucia, Castries, Southeast, you can be proud of your representative.
Yes.
All of the accusations you are hearing out there, why haven't they attacked me on my work and my position?
That's right.
Tell them, come and show where I have misrepresented you. I have done more work than all of them put together, and I have more work coming. I have more work ongoing.
Yes.
And that is what the people, the size of my motorcade, Champagne, is not just because the people like Guy Joseph. I have more Labour Party votes that have swung to me this election than any other election that I've run in this country. Because you know what? The people see Bexon has not flooded.
That is true.
Has not flooded.
That is true.
The level of support, the amount of work, little projects and contracts, and you look at the work that we are doing in the Bexon area. When I look at my community of forest here, I mean every community in Goodlands, we are doing some work there this day. The size of my constituency and the amount of work that we have done. My recording studio is coming up. My HRDC center in Forest. Odsa, very advanced stage. They are almost finished with the plaster, and they started giving a coat of painting on the inside already. The new facility, indoor facility at Bexon. You know, if that had been completed, the manifesto launch could have been done inside that building.
True. Yes, that is true.
20,000 square feet of space. So Champagne, Castries Southeast is in good hands. And I am so proud of my people. My people come out and rally and campaign. They don't ask for anything. The amount of vehicles, private vehicles, and that's why I will continue to work hard for these people. These people who come out are not just the buses we hire, you know. We are talking about private people who put in their own fuel, buy their own drinks. Some of them design their own vehicles. In fact, last Sunday we had so many vehicles, we could not have judged the best designed vehicle because we could not get the vehicles in one place.
Exactly.
But this Sunday I have to award the prize for at least the first 3 best decorated vehicles in the motorcade.
Yes.
As I went around the constituency and I see the level of support, not just from those in the motorcade, but the people at their homes.
Yeah.
Those
Oh,
who
yes.
stood by the road
Yes, yes,
and
yes.
waved flags
Yes.
and did things.
Yes.
Champagne,
Yes.
the last thing I will say
Yeah.
is the Labour Party is running a very nasty campaign. What they've been doing is that they are destroying people's flags. They are pulling down posters. In fact, in Viewfort South, I saw that they went and put Kenny's poster over a billboard that is put up by Herman Gill Francis as the candidate
Yeah.
for the United Workers' Party in Bexley. They actually saw the Labour Party fellas pulling down our flags. In my own community of Forestier, the Labour Party offered a man $1,000 to come and pull down my flags
Yes.
and my posters. Now, I could have fought back and said, look here, this campaign is going to run with no paraphernalia, billboard or anything. Because I could have done the same. I could have just said, look, I just told my people, and some of my people, they didn't get paid to go and do that. They did that voluntarily to go and put up the flags. And they said, Minister, we are unhappy that these people, and we want to take some action. I said, no, flags don't vote on election day. Posters don't vote on election day. I don't want you to do anything that can hinder you from being able to vote on election day.
Yes, that's what's important.
So let's pull back. Because the Labour Party candidate already indicated to some people that they would run a nasty campaign.
This guy is still talking?
And they because they don't see the path to victory, so they are retaliating. It's not because our people cannot retaliate. Elections have always been peaceful in St. Lucia, and we want to maintain that. Now I will say this, and I'm telling Philip J. Pierre, call your troops and tell them what they are doing is not right. I do not encourage pulling down one poster, one flag, or anything in any area. I've not even put flags and posters throughout everywhere in my constituency, because I feel that my work speaks enough.
That's right.
So the level of expenditure I have done on paraphernalia is less than other elections, because at the same time, while you want to have a presence and some level of visibility in the constituency and even the criticisms, I felt that wrapping my vehicle, which was less than $2,000, is much cheaper for advertising myself and for other candidates in the constituency, and as we go around the length and breadth of St. Lucia, than putting up a billboard in one area. True. So people make different choices. We've not been extravagant in our expenditure in terms of what we do, because these are difficult times. But I want to say to the Labour Party, your approach, they want to knock people when motorcades are passing. You know, my motorcade was coming down, and there was just about, I would say, a little less than 100 people of the Labour Party troops who had, I guess they had announced a motorcade. They were at the Kachime Junction and came right in the middle of the road in front of the vehicles and actually stopping the vehicles from coming through. Now, that is uncalled for.
Yeah, well, where's the police then?
No, the police came eventually.
Okay.
No, but the motorcade was so big, the police could not.
The police have to lead the motorcade. They have to be in the front.
No, they were at the time. Because my motorcade was in It was in
Several
many
pieces.
different pieces. So,
So
because
you had to have the whole police force.
Champagne, I saw the size of my motorcade.
Yeah.
When I was going up to Wavin Poisson, my motorcade was coming down already from
Wow.
Wavin Poisson.
What?
So when my vehicles had turned, when vehicles had turned up and was up on the Sarot Hill,
Yes, I would.
I was still on the way to Wavin Poisson.
Wow.
And behind me still had a good 30, 40 vehicles,
My
I would
goodness.
say.
My goodness.
Today, when we did the count, we had 66 buses. That's minivans,
Yeah, minivans
taxis,
with
and
people all on.
everything.
Yes.
66 buses. Trucks, we have not tallied the number of trucks.
Yeah.
There were about 10 music vehicles, different trucks
Yes, yes.
with systems on them. Because what we were doing, because you know, everybody in motorcades, everybody wants to be behind the music
Yeah,
truck.
yeah.
And so it
you
causes
space them
people
out.
to overtake and try and
Yes,
fit
yes.
in between. So what we did, we spaced out
That's
the
right.
music vehicles in
Yes.
between.
Yeah.
And then private vehicles and
No
motorcycles.
count, no
and-
count. Yeah, you got.
I mean, it was amazing, and that is why I want to assure the people, I will not let them down. You see, this UWP government, we will work as hard as we have to make St. Lucia the best place to live.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Champagne.
All right,
Thank
Mr.
you for
Minister,
having
thank
me.
you, St. Lucia. St. Lucia, unfortunately, will not be doing any calls, but no, we have to go. We have to go.
But
We have to
Minister,
go.
I can just pull the thing for you and you do your...
Yeah, you could take some calls. Let him say hello, good afternoon.
I just...
Yeah. All right, then come there.
Minister.
Yeah. So let him-
You've never showed me how to operate the systems.
No, so you could come here and
Yeah,
he's
no,
going to
and
do the
I
calls.
just-
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let him do the call. St. Lucia, we have to leave. I would love to stay with the minister. First of all, I have not had lunch. I've been here from 9 and it's 4 o'clock. You know, boy, you know how that works. So,
The minister just have to spoon for lunch, right?
no, we are right. The minister, all right. That's my buddy there. Look your thing there.
Get some lunch.
All right, St. Lucia, so those, you could still call. The phones are already going on. So the phone's already ringing. The man ET is just going to say hello, good afternoon, and that's it. All right, hello, good afternoon, and that's it. So the man ET is going to take your call.
Too much, you say, books are lousy.
Mon repos, patience, Nico, Samuel, Wale, Mikud village. We going and vote over there. Ola Mikud North, you ready? Mikud North.
Yeah, man.
There we go. There we go. Mikud North. What we say? Who we voting for? We voting anti-girl for sure. Who